Hey stencil fans, today we are going to paint a stencil in blue, which is very interesting. We also have one painted in regular orange, but we are going to paint with a two-part stencil through the stencil itself to get this shaded and highlighted look. I'm going to show you how to use a banding stencil to get a framed look on any round surface. And then I'm going to show you how to do this really cool chipped paint background. I think you're going to love it, and it will do lots for your toolbox, your painting toolbox. So stick around. All right, guys, I hope you are ready for a lot of things today. I am going to throw a bunch at you, and we're going to kind of get right to it. I'm going to, before I talk to you about the giveaways, I want to get a base on this so that it gets drying, and that way, I'm missing it down. So we're going to use a water-based stain. These are honey bottles, and we put larger quantities of our gallons and half gallons and quarts. We pour them into these so that they are a little easier to manage. They are available on Amazon, and we have affiliate links down below. And that just, that makes it easy for you guys to find everything. So I'm mixing two colors of my brown. So I've got a light brown and a dark brown to make a medium brown. And they're just water-based stains. You can get them mixed. You can buy them mixed, whatever. It's nice to have like 3 or 4 different colors. Just gonna get a background of darkness behind. When we, in this, I don't need to worry about going straight. My next coats, I will have to be in a direction because that's gonna establish my chipping. And then when I get close to my edge right here, I don't wanna scooch off of the edge onto the board. I wanna end it off of the board by sweeping. And that way I won't make a big mess on the outside rim of my board. Okay, so we'll get this coated, and then I will tell you about our giveaways. If you are new to seeing us here, welcome. We do lives on Tuesdays at noon and 9 p.m. And that's Eastern time. Now I'll flip my board over so I'm not making a mess, and I'll just scooch that off of the edge with a sweeping movement. And I am on a tremendously big black silicone mat that makes this surface non-slippery, which is wonderful. Also protects my surface. And you can just clean these up with, we've been using the Zep, and you just squirt it, let it sit for a minute, and then it dries. So let me show you the giveaways. Okay, we are, of course, going to do brush giveaways. We try to do this when they're available and when they're in stock. Watch the availability of these. We are working constantly with our brush manufacturers to get them and keep them in stock. They're an import, and things are broken everywhere. So whatever, we're just going to deal with it. But buy them when you can find them. Those of you who are experienced with these brushes, put it in the chat what you like about it and share it with other people so that they can know how magical these are. If you don't want to bleed under your stencils, these are the trick. And so we're going to give away a set at the noon show, and then the recast or the replay tonight at 9. And then we are going to do another shopping spree. We love this so much. This is just our plaque to have something to hold up, but we're doing a $30 shopping spree. You can get entered to win if you put pictures of something that you've stenciled into Facebook, on our Facebook page, and share it with us. And then if you stenciled with our stencil, then you get a bonus point, and you can get up to 10 points. So, and then you have to do new things each week after you do it. But so when you share, and then with our prizes, you have to make sure to come back the following week to see who won. If you won, and then you have to give us your address. So make sure that you follow through with that part. If you don't give us your address, we can't send you prizes. So I hope you're excited to win a shopping spree. Put your likes and shares and comments in the chat, and that will be how you get entered for the brush giveaway. Okay, I want to talk about these aprons. We have a little bit of swag going on. So if you're a stencil fan, you might just want a lovely StudioR12 apron. And these are great because they have pockets, and the strap is actually really long enough to go all the way around. You can tie it in back, or you can come all the way around. It's got a nice long strap, and the neck thing is adjustable as well. Super easy to make it fit for just about anybody. So I'm super proud of that. It's just fun to have something that, you know, has our logo on it. All right, so I'm gonna dry this, and we are gonna talk about how to make that background. While I'm blow drying, this is gonna take me one more hot second. While I'm blow drying, make sure to put in the chat where you're from, what the weather's doing, what you're painting right now, that kind of thing. All right, that is dry. Thank goodness it's water-based, right? Okay, so what we are about to do and about to affect is the chipping and this border around this edge, okay, and the chipping in the background. This is the step that will take care of that for the future. And I've got one prepped that's all like finished, but we just want that hint of a border. We don't sell surfaces with frames at this point in time, but we have banding stencils, can make it look like framing. And if you paint to sell, that's a neat way to make it like almost like a higher quality or higher value. All right, so I'm gonna show you banding stencils. They are truly magic. Okay, so this is our banding stencils. They come in, and you know what I did forget is my glasses. If somebody can hook a sister up and bring me glasses, that would be great. So these come in odds and evens, okay? So this is a 15-inch sign. And so I'm gonna use my odds for that. So there's sets of them that are either odd or either even. And they come in wide, skinny. I think there's like 3 sizes, thank you so much. There's 3 sizes of the different bands that you can do. So you can have a thick band or a skinny one or whatever. And then what you do, this is these really cool punched hole organizers. This is the disc binders, disc journals, that's what they are. Okay, so then I match my arch up to, so if you are on this size, then you're gonna find which one of these lines up with your circle. So I'll show you that this is obviously meant for something that's got a wider slope to it, a bigger board. And then the next one's not right, and the next one is right. And what's great about this is you can do any size, anything. So if you're banding clocks, any round surfaces and things like that, you can use these to create perfect banding. And it also comes with like a little compass thing. You can anchor this bit comes out, you can put it right over that, put a push pin in there, and you can make marks and lines and stuff like that. So it is multi-functioning, wonderful tool. And I think you buy them in the sets, is how I think you do. So we're gonna take our Clapham's beeswax, and that, by the way, the banding stencil set is CMBN 163, and it is a this is part 3 of 6, so it's coming in a 6-pack of them. The Clapham's beeswax is a natural product. You can use this for sealing your surfaces. Truly great if you're gonna do any kind of baby toys and anything that's gonna come in contact with like food, like cutting boards and things like that, salad bowls. You can use this, and it's completely food safe. You could just eat this if you wanted to. Don't recommend it, but you could if you wanted to. Okay, we're gonna take a little dome brush, and then we are gonna kind of get on in here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just put right along my edge, I'm gonna layer irregular wax on my board, okay? On my edge, but not everywhere. If it's everywhere, it won't look chippy, Okay, and then I'm gonna try not to make like a here, there pattern going all the way around. So then I'll lift that up and then I set it back down, line it up, and then apply some more wax. Okay, I'm gonna work my way all the way around. You can do this with paint. You can do it with, you could do it with markers, like any kind of medium can be used with this banding stencil. And then we'll just keep working our way around. And rather than show you the whole entire repeat of this, I'm gonna stop right about here. It's about halfway. I'll show you how to get the paint on there and then I'll take out the one that I have done. All right, I'm gonna ditch that into some water. Oops, I need that wax one more time. So this is gonna go someplace so I don't get wax everywhere. I would just lay that on paper towels and wipe that off. And then we're gonna take another brush. I'm gonna pick up some of our wax. I'm gonna go in a straight up and down. And I'm just gonna lay on some irregular wax places. Make some skinny, some fat. Try not to be too patterny. This makes the best wax resist. The day that I learned, this is my, back when I was painting a little bit more detailed things, I did a clock. It was a geranium clock, and I came bursting out of my studio. We had employees around and stuff like that. I came bursting out of the studio. I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. I felt like a mad scientist. It was amazing. All right, so for our background color, we are going to do this really kind of light gray. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about values because the values are just colors. Black is a dark value, white is a light value. So any color is either dark, light, medium, medium dark, medium light, that kind of thing. So in order to get this shadow, we're gonna need to play and know that we're getting a darker color, and then I'll show you a little bit more about that. So we're just gonna do a little bit more advanced stuff today. You could keep this really simple. If you're a beginner, don't worry about it. You don't have to learn. There will not be a test, I promise. Okay, so who is excited to be a mad scientist? All right, so I'm gonna put some of this gray out. So this is just a really, 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 really light gray. And you could do a warm gray that casts more towards like a yellow, and you could do a cooler gray that, this is kind of in the middle. It's got just a little teeny bit of yellow in it. Looks a little more khaki than gray. So then we're gonna kind of scoop our paint on our foam brush. I think I'm gonna do this from now on, if I can find the ones that I don't. So we've been dissecting these brushes. This brush is, so if I have a floppy brush, it is going to lay down on the surface and it will not stand up and move my paint around. And so these brushes are made with the wood that goes all the way about halfway through the foam part, and the competitor's wood handle ends right at the tip. So the competitor has this piece of plastic there, but it's super floppy. And so that is why this is such a better foam brush. It's amazing. And when it comes down to, if I was gonna use, this is my very favorite base coating brush, but this will go so much faster, and this will lay on the paint and this moves the paint. So that's like the difference in why I choose it. Okay, this has got its reasons. This has also got its reasons. Our paint is acrylic paint. And so I'm gonna just like scoop up that paint, and then I'm gonna lay it down, and I'm gonna go in a row and a row. I don't wanna dig at that wax because it'll move the wax around. So I'm just basically gonna base coat right over the wax. I guess if I was doing it on a normal board, I would tap into my paint and I would really work the paint more. I'm more laying this paint on top. Okay, so a little bit more, you can tell I'm laying it on there. That just helps the wax not move around. So, if you guys are catching this and you are finding us on YouTube, make sure that you go to Facebook and like and see us on Tuesdays, because that's when you can get entered to do the prizes that we're talking about here. We're going in a direction. We want to keep our direction flow at this point. I'll keep running out of paint. I'm not gonna get this whole thing done because I only put the wax on half. I'm gonna turn it around. You can't really blow dry this to dry it. So you wanna do this technique when you are, you wanna do the technique when you can leave it overnight. I left mine overnight to dry, my other samples, and that was a perfect amount of time. So I think I finished my samples in the afternoon, and then by the time I came in the next day, so it was like 12 hours of drying time. So I'm gonna pick up white, and I've got quite a bit on my brush. I'm gonna blot a little bit of that off. And then I'm just gonna streak that, wet and wet, definitely paying attention to my lines. Anytime that you're making a texture or a technique that's gonna indicate travel, indicate the direction that the paint's going, you need to keep your line straight. And on a round surface, that's really hard to do. So I find myself turning at an angle, and I find myself trying to make room for my arm not to hit my body. And so I can get a straight line. And then once you establish straight, you have to keep it straight. So try not to start arching once you get over there. And it's harder not to arch on a circle. Okay, so I'm gonna put that foam brush, I'm gonna soak it in some water and dump it in there. So this dries 12 hours. I'm gonna put that over there, and I'm gonna put that right over here. Okay, so I've got one done. And let's see, I've got a big old long hair in there. Let's take Mr. Sander. So this is when we've got these wonderful cups, also things with our logo on them and stuff like that. But on the back, we have all of these wonderful sayings, and one of them is sanding is my cardio. It's my favorite one. Paint your world pretty. Let's see, peeking, blow your hippie noodle. We're gonna blow your hippie noodle today, actually. So if you're a stencil fan, we've got the gear for you. All right, I'm gonna take our sander. This is a palm sander. Well, no, it's not a palm sander, sorry. It's a sanding block. It fits in your palm. And this is 60 grit sandpaper. So I'm going to kind of muscle into this, and I have to go in the direction of my streaky paint, okay? So you don't want to cross over because that won't make it pretty. Ready? Hippie noodle time. Okay, those of you who haven't seen this done, I want you to put it in the chat when your mind is blown. Okay, so we're gonna go over here. I'm just gonna start sanding, and it just peels the paint off in the most attractive way. I am such a fan of doing this because when you try to create chipped paint without really chipping paint, it always looks really fake. Okay, so I'm gonna sand that hair right off of there. And this, I have used this on my sample board, and it has a lot of waxy surface already built up. So I'm gonna get out another sanding block and continue on. Hopefully I have another rough one in here, yeah. We have like 7 or 8 of them, but that's because we have 7 or 8 of us painting. So anyway, so this is fresh. This will take the paint off much nicer. There we go. See how that's just making that edge amazing? It's almost like it's got a frame. I've got a trick up my sleeve to finish that. Okay, and then I just schmooze everything off onto the floor. If you are in your house, a big trash can is a really good trick to not have. So you set this on either side of your trash can. You get at it, do your cardio with your sanding disc, and then you just brush everything into the can. Okay, so some of this, see how that picked up so much of that already. I can turn it over and put some pressure on the other side. Okay, anything I don't like how I left like a ridge right there, and there was some wax right there. Ooh, I missed a couple. Okay, these are fabulous. There will be a link down below for that. And then if you need to change them, I'll just show you how to take it apart. I won't show you how to put it together. It's just got these little teeth in there. And I'm actually not gonna show you that either because I'm terrible at it on camera. So anyway, there's these little teethies in there, And that's what holds everything together and is super strong. Hold it together. All right, so I'm gonna brush off my mess. Like I said, this mat is one of those affiliate links. This is a product we just don't carry. I try not to carry everything. I try to carry what makes sense, you know, so we just send you over to Amazon to do the thing. And that seems to be the most popular place. All right, I'm after this. Gotta clean it off. So I'm gonna put that under a paper towel. And then I'm gonna wipe off the wax. Our stencils are reusable over and over and over and over again. You never have to feel like you can't just keep reusing the stencil. Stencils do not do well if you bend them. If you ever get a bent stencil from us in the mail, it is not because we sent it to you bent. The post office can be very mean to our stencils. So if you ever have that happen, please reach out to our customer service. We have fabulous, fabulous customer care. So, okay. But never bend your stencils. That's the only thing I don't know how to fix. If any of you have any suggestions for that, like let me know, because you can try heating them with a blow dryer and things like that, but I don't know. So you want to keep your stencils flat and straight. So if you see back here, we do these tall porch signs. So there's Mr. Bones over here, right? And then back here, you can see that we've got this piece of, it's like a flat iron. And we put those little hooks, J hooks, I think they might be called. S hooks, J hooks, whatever they are. They're plastic little things from the office supply store. We put those on there and then we do them numerically, okay, when we keep our stencils. So that's how we do it because we have so many stencils. When I was filming in my private studio, I would stack them up. And so let me show you real quick how this goes together because I think it's so important. Really important because you can put things together and they actually do stack really well. So if I'm going here and I put that there and then I've got like tools, we've got stencil tools, so that's what I call that. Now you color code them and you can know that my red is gonna be my tools, my green is gonna be all of my patterns, and then the whatever other color is going to be everything else. Excuse me. So you just punch them with this punch, and I'll show you how to do that. And then it makes them into a book. Is that not magic? And so then you can reuse them over and over, and it keeps them nice and flat and organized. So I think that's one of the best solutions. I've also seen where you can take the curtain wire hanger and you can put it like in an empty closet, or you can do this. I like the iron better than the curtain wire thing because the iron doesn't bend. And I think you can go to like Home Depot, Lowe's, that kind of thing, and go get a piece of that iron there. They like have it on the shelf. So the way that you punch this, and it's a little bit different with the round one, but we could still do it. So I could just put my stencil in there, and it's just not going to have very many things to hold it together. So it makes just a lovely little push pin shape. And then when you put it in here, you're just going to, yeah, it's only gonna give me 2 teeth. You just pop it onto these little rings and, oh, no, almost, there. So now I can flip that one. And they stay really well. Like, that's amazing. There's a lot of weight on that little guy. And then when you need your stencil, you just pop it up. So super handy. I really, really, really love it. When you start getting into some of the background, we've got gears and, you know, diamond plate and chicken wire and, you know, bricks. We've got 5,000 stencils plus on our website, and that's not counting sizes. So we have your stencils, baby. If you are a stencil fan, put that in the chat. And if you're a stencil crazy person, put that in the chat too, because I think that is just, I love hanging out with my fellow crazies. All right, we're going to use a 2-part stencil. We are going, oops, I was going to show you the banding. Hang on a second. Get that back out here. Okay, to emphasize my banding. So what we've got going on here is, this is maybe a little bit, I'm gonna go side by side comparison. This is a little bit darker than my original, but I had to go on here and just kind of emphasize it just a little bit to give it just a little bit more frame look. So that's what we're gonna do now. So we'll take our banding stencil. I've got black, I'm gonna need brown. Earlier I was saying that I needed a dead brown. How do you make a dead brown? I will show you. So a warm live brown, if we're saying that things are live, is gonna be vibrant. It's gonna have more red in it. I wanna make something that's a little bit more neutralized. So probably not dead, but neutralized. So I'm gonna just mix a little bit of a khaki brown in with a warm live brown, and then I'll use a little bit of black to strengthen it. Okay, I'm gonna go into our black. Make sure you guys are liking, sharing, and commenting. And then you guys do a really tremendous job of sharing with each other. Like when you go and put those pictures on Facebook, if you make sure to like the people who have shared, because that's like a scary thing for people to do. It can be hard to share like things that you've painted and created, and you know, because like sometimes they're not exactly perfect, you know? And so instead of feeling like perfection, like this is not perfect at all. It is, however, pretty, you know? And so like, I'm not going for perfection when I'm painting. I'm kind of going for like, does it check the weathered pumpkin in a blue color look? Like that's like what my goal is. It's not necessarily, I could pick this apart and I could show you things that I would choose to do differently. But I also know that I'm looking at the whole package and it looks good. So I'm super happy with it. Does that make sense? I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is to get brave and bold about sharing. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our bands. Anyway, if you guys make sure you comment on other people's stuff, I think that's just a really good sense of community and sharing and camaraderie and all that. So I've got just a little bit of that brush mixed on my brush, and then I'm coming over here to my paper towel, I'm dusting it off. And then I'll just go around and give myself some strengthening. And it's really amazing how fast this goes when you get going. So I'm judging my color by what my paper towel looks like. And that's super easy because I'm going on white onto white. So that's a super simple way for me to look at it. But if I was doing a darker color, I might have to do some guessing. Okay, so we'll go around that. Show you the thing. Okay, so who loves this chippy paint? Like it takes the work out of doing chippy stuff. And then this banding stencil, my God. You buy one of these, you're gonna have it for life and you will never get stuck. And then when you're at it, we'll put a link to the straight banding sets. I think there's a set of them somewhere, but that's nice too, because you can make, you know, actually you can use these for inner bands. I forgot about that, I wasn't thinking. But you can do the other banding stencils to make borders, you can do trim, you can use it like, so say you put like buffalo check like on the top and the bottom of a sign and then put like a reindeer in the middle. You can band that, and then you can even go through your stencil and you can highlight it as well. So just magic. You absolutely need them. And I don't say that very often. That's not a thing that everybody needs one kind of thing. If you're just painting words on signs and you know you're not gonna put creative steps in it where you want to do extra things, you don't need them. But if you're doing all the other things, you need them. Okay, so we're gonna get all the way around. So we're almost already there because I'm talking it to death. When you're doing your banding stencil, be careful about stopping on this line. Stop and start a little bit shy of the line because it will leave a strong line and it's hard to get rid of that. So you have to like sand it away or whatever. It's hard to feather that in if you go all the way to the stopping part. And you'll tell yourself you're gonna do that and then you mess it up and do it another way. So if you wanted to band an inner band on this, you would simply choose the odd, not the evens. I don't know if this is odd or even right now, but I could go in here and I could make my band go all the way in. I could make this into a clock, whatever. And so then we put this back together. I'm not gonna worry about washing this. And that's how you clip them in. Doo-doo-doo. And now I can put these away. Okay, so that looks fabulous. Okay, we're gonna do crazy weird stuff now. We wanna make sure to put our stencil on here straight because I've got straight lines, okay? And also, if you want to act as if, I kind of almost acted as if I had boards on my project. And the way that I did that is I took a sanding block. Yeah, I'm gonna do the little piece of sandpaper trick. Okay, always, 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 that's a better example. So see how that has the 3 holes in it? Always keep these. These are from the ends that are tucked in where those spikes are. Keep these because this is why, right now, I will show you. You can fold these, kind of form them up a little bit. And then I can go in here where I think I want a little bit more planking, and I can just give myself plankish looking lines. So, and it is like really easy to do. I'm not even breaking a sweat on this cardio. So I know I'm gonna have a lot of pumpkin right here. So I wanna maybe tuck some of this out from. Hey. Neat, huh? I'm so excited. We really, really, really like this blue pumpkin. I just had so much fun doing it. I want to show you the orange one. This next technique that we're about to do, this one's the orange one. And so you can see 2 different things, but they're built basically the same. And my son Chris painted this one, and you can see that he went crossways with his detail, and then I went up and down with mine. Either way is fine, so don't worry about which way you go. It is, and you can do it without having, you could just do it on black, you know, like you could just do it on a solid color. All right, so we want to use the open hole first. If I can get in here. Ooh, I wanted to share. Wouldn't this look so cute on this surface? I think that that would just be like the neatest thing. I would like lend itself to a bow and some other stuff. I think that's neat. Love that paddle. Okay, brushing off. We're gonna get it lined up. Make sure you're straight. Like, sharing, and commenting. I think that's the hardest thing. When you go to YouTube, if you are on Facebook and you're on our lives, go to YouTube and then make sure that you subscribe. And then once you hit the subscribe button, there will be a little bell that'll show up. And you just click that bell, and then it'll send you a notification when we have new content. And we're not just doing lives, we're doing videos that have like question answer things. We're doing videos that are sorry, lost train of thought, went straight out the window. We're doing videos that are short. We're doing videos that just get maybe a little bit more detail. So like, there's a lot to see. So you can find out about anything about stenciling right there. Anyway, so if you subscribe, you'll get notified. We're gonna take our brush that is a big, giant brush, and this is where we're gonna talk about values. We have a value chain going on right here. Okay, so you can see that we basically run the entire, when we're calling it values, we're calling it light and dark. That's what value means. So it goes all the way from white to black. And then we have a light blue, medium blue, and dark blues. Okay, so I'm gonna work in those colors. Tape. Okay, well, you always want to secure your surface, especially when we're working in a great big hole like that pumpkin. Otherwise, things are going to travel around. So I'm going to tear this in half. I'm going to tape in 2 spots. This is like tape basics, tape 101. Okay, if I tape in only 1 spot, it can still travel. If I tape in 2 spots, then I get no travel. Isn't that great? Okay, we're gonna go into our dark blue. And this is where we get a little crazy. This is actually something I'm not sure I've done before. So I haven't intentionally done like forming shape in the background of things. So I'm gonna get out my blues. Just get out my darker blues. So we're gonna establish this, picking up our blue, and I'm gonna kind of use it kind of juicy. There's a secret to using juicy paint though, okay? So the secret is, if I don't wipe it all off over here, because that's like the secret to not bleeding. So if I do this wrong and I bleed under, I'm gonna have consequences, okay? So I'm gonna start off on my plastic and sweep up my pumpkin. And that way I'm not shoving to my stencil, and that will make it so I won't bleed. Okay, so I'm gonna just wipe off a little bit. I'm wanting this pumpkin base coated, but I'm not wanting it like solidly base coated. Okay, so get that kind of just going in the dark, and then I'll pick up the medium and I'll start picking that up from there. And now I'll go into this lighter, and now I'm going to change my direction, start off of the Mylar. What I'm doing is establishing, okay, I'm going to get out my multi-masker. So I'm getting into my stem area right there, so I can just lay that puppy right across there. And then find my little corner piece. This is an amazing little tool. We discovered that Mylar masks Mylar brilliantly, and having just a little flexible one that you can kind of lift a corner, you can put checks, you can put dots. There's for when you're doing leaves, if you want to keep out of the flowers while you're doing the leaf stuff. It's amazing. And we'll put our glasses on so we can see. And it moves so much easier than tape. I gotta say, I like dying to paint one of those trucks, because the trucks have, you want to put the running board and you want to put the headlights and you want to put all the different details on there, and you don't want to spend like the whole afternoon taping. This will save that. I am excited to actually paint one again because I hate taping. All right, hate is a really strong word. I just really don't like taping. So what I'm trying to establish here is, I know I'm going to put lights up here, so I want this area of my pumpkin lighter than my highlights on my pumpkin. So I know my highlights are going to be up high, so I want this back there to be darker than this light, and this down here darker than the darks. Okay, so we get that kind of established. Now I'm going to go backwards into black plus blue and get a little bit more dark down there. And I'm really, my son and I were, he works with us here, but we were both painting pumpkins at the same time. And he looked over at me, he's like, "Mom, you are really laying that on thick." And I'm like, "I know." So sometimes it's okay to do that, but usually stencils is a layers game, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so you can see this isn't even, and you're gonna see that we don't care, because the only thing that's gonna show on this, besides having a background color, is going to be where these little sections of that will mask, and that will make those show. Okay, into the water. We're gonna change gears and go up here into the greenery. And so we've got our browns out, that's our stem. We're gonna get our greens. We're doing the same thing with our greens. We're walking down value scale. Okay, so I've got dark, my light, and then we have something in between. They generally say that you should skip a board in between. And so if you can step over it and reach the next value, then that's the perfect amount. If they're too close together, then you won't notice. So you want to skip one, but don't skip 3 or 4. If I jump from this green to this, you're going to have so much contrast that your eye is just going to explode, if that makes sense. Okay, we'll get our greens. And I'll just gonna go ahead and put them out right now. These are honey bottles. This is acrylic paint. Links are below, not for the paint. The paint, you can use any paint that you want. Just be careful to use quality paint. And if you start looking at your paints, instead of looking at rose as rose pink, and you start looking at things in not named, so i.e., you know, sagey green, you know, give it your own like color name of your own so that you know what you mean. Then you'll be liberated a little bit for not having to have exactly the same color, you know, that somebody else has. Okay, I'm gonna flip my paper towel over. We're gonna go into our greenery. I'm gonna mix a little of this green, this khaki color in with our medium value green. Dry off on my paper towel. Now I wanna start painting like I should be, which is in layers, and then we'll just dust with a swirl. Those of you who are beginners, dry brush, dome brush. The dome is cut so it won't sweep paint underneath the edge of your stencil. This is secret number 1. Drying off on your paper towel, secret number 2. Not having a wet brush, number 3. And then using dry paint is number 4. So those are the secret steps to not bleeding under. So we'll just go here and we'll swirl. I can stipple, but when I stipple, I get really strong paint and it's also exhausting to stipple. This is easy to do. So I'm just swirling. I'm gonna swirl that leaf. Okay, and this is a green. I think I made it brown on this guy. Nope, it's green. Right, and I actually did them darker. So I'll just pick up dark and go right back over. When you swirl, they also dry really quickly. So once I'm all the way over here, I can come right back and start again and I don't have to worry about blow drying, except for that one's still wet. Okay, but I will rest my brush there. That is still doing its thing. For our stem, we're gonna go into our dead brown, which is the brown we're gonna kind of mix. I'm gonna mix a little black in there. And we're going to get out our masking tool. Get over in here. That little tool is a game changer. If you don't like to tape as much as I don't like to tape, you need one. If you're a stencil crazy lady, or crazy man, I guess. We have some men on as stencil fans as well. So I won't be one of those. Okay, so I can mix into some of this. I can put a little bit of brown into my greens if I want to. And then I have a little secret weapon. We have got leafy cutouts. So what I've done here is I have taken one of these and I have used a little foamy thing under there to give it an offset. And then I can sprinkle a couple of leaves on here and I think it just makes it so much richer and so much cuter. So I can base coat my leaf right now. Take that guy. And then there's just an assortment of all the fall leaves in here, all sizes. You can make earrings out of those things, all the things. When you're basing your wood, you're just gonna put it on your palette and get it based. And that's when you paint your fingers. If you've got a nice manicure, this might be where you wanna put on a pair of gloves. I always crop them short. Don't have no time for manicures. I'm always in something, dirt, food. I garden and I paint and I garden, I paint, and I cook. So I'm always got my arms in something. Okay, so now we're gonna drop these in water. Got that done. I am gonna hit the blow dryer with this so that I can make sure that's dry. Blowing everything away. All right, ready for some magic. This is where things get fun. Okay, we're gonna switch stencils. Okay, I'm just gonna leave the tape on the back of the board. So that looks pretty cool right now. You can really just play with this technique. This would be a really good cardboard project, especially if you're trying to get the blues right and you could go way dustier and dreamier. You could go way darker and strong. You could make them green. The pumpkins are so cool in these other colors. All right, so our stencil is designed to match the cutout. And so I'm gonna get that all lined up. Okay, I think that's it. Secure in 2 places. And now I'm good to go. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to get this shape on here. We're gonna use a rake brush. This is my White Wonder rake brush, and it has teeth in it, and it is made out of the way they cut it, it will splay out, and it makes the loveliest Santa beards, any kind of flower details and things like that. It's a wonderful brush, but it's the one I use for the spattering. Little paint spatters everywhere. I'll be using that for that today. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start establishing our color, and we're gonna follow the line of the pumpkin sections that we're in. So when we're paintbrushing, we're gonna make sure that we go in the line. We're gonna keep our darks at the bottom. We're gonna come in the top with a little bit of light, and I'll show you how to shade using your fingers. Oh, I wash my hands. And I'll show you how to do some of that. Super fun. Here we go. So I am going to turn my piece over. I'm gonna do the black or the dark first. And I'm gonna get Juicy Loaded. Remember my son said, hey, you're really laying that on. Juicy Loaded paint. And we're gonna go in here and we're barely pushing on this and giving it just a really soft pressure. If I was doing it with really hard pressure, I would be laying it down, and I'm not doing that. I'm on just a little bit of a halfway moment. Okay, so just tippy-toeing, and I'm just making it swirl towards its shape. Okay, I'll pick up more paint. Who else is starving? I'm starving right now. Okay. What is in your sippy cup? Depending on if you're at the first at noon or the recast, I imagine the answer changes. Those cups are so amazing. I put cold water in a peppermint tea bag in mine most days, and the cold water makes it not so strong. I don't like a really strong peppermint flavor. And it's just very refreshing, and it stays cold all day long. And I actually, during the summer, I will find myself doing hot tea more than in the winter, which is weird to me. I don't know why I do that. But it keeps hot and keeps cold almost most of the day, so. Okay, so we've got all of that streaked. We're gonna go into the middle, and we are going to, I'm just gonna wipe my brush out, pick up my next blue color, and then we'll continue up. We'll overlap. Almost like feathering your hair, if you remember, if you're old enough to remember the 70s when the Farrah Fawcett and the feathered hair bangs and stuff like that. Don't put that in the chat. Okay, so it's funny how many, you can like date all your haircuts by like what generation it was. Okay, so I'm gonna get that covered up there. See how that's just starting to form the shape of the pumpkin. Okay, and as we do the top stuff, that's what's really gonna establish it, because that'll be like a contrasty thing. I'll move that up into the top. The neat thing about using the wax underneath is the wax is going to, it will chip this paint too until it gets kind of wiped out. So it will re-chip when I am ready to go at this with a little sanding, and it will pull it right back out from behind the blue. All right, we're gonna do our lighter color on top, and we'll feather those blues together. So you can do this with any color. You could make a white pumpkin using grays and stuff. If you have a farmhouse style, you could do so many things with just different colors. Get onto Pinterest. That's what I do. I found a blue pumpkin on Pinterest that I liked, and I just decided to like make the blue pumpkin my own. I didn't copy their art. We call it palette shopping. Somebody taught me that, I think 15 years ago. You can't, I think McDonald's can, but there's not a copyrighted color palette, if you will. So you can, I think Ohio State has one, but like that's very, very unusual. So most of the things that you find on Pinterest or whatever, if you see a really pretty pear that's done in purple with some coral highlights, copy that palette. It's fine, it's legal. So don't feel like you're limited. You don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. We find pretty things, like I might find a chicken that's painted in a beautiful red and then we might apply it to a pumpkin. You know, I don't go looking for a pumpkin that's a specific color necessarily. I go looking for a pretty color family and then I borrow the color family. Okay. And then when you are looking for, you know, searching for ways to do your stencils, don't forget that you can mix and match. For example, I've got some examples over here. So you could take this project and you could paint this in blue, and that can be your blue or your orange thing. And then you can take the words, so this harvest word, and you could put that right over on this piece. So you can take bits and pieces of your stencils and then use them on other things. So that's why that like storage system is so cool. If you need the word coffee, you can go through and be like, oh, here's all my coffee words. And then if you're really a stencil fan and you end up with like a ton, you could organize them so that all of your, you know, all your coffees together, all your chickens, I'm a chicken fan, all your chickens are together and all that. So like you, I don't know, it's just, remember you can mix and match. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our dark. Gonna mix in some of our black and just get that a little bit heavier. That blue's not coating super well. It's not got a lot of pigment in it. That's a problem. Anything that's a bright color usually will not have a lot of pigment and you will have to do multiple coats. Okay. All right, so when you are putting things in the chat, don't forget to ask questions. We have people there. This is the live portion of our videos, is that we have people answering all your questions live so that in real time you can get real answers. I've got a little bit of a line, but I think I'm gonna be okay with it. So I'm gonna leave that and get out the rest of my blues. I'm singing the blues today, man. Okay, and I haven't even gotten out white. Oh, it was on the other palette. Okay, and then this is a really weird little, I don't know, chiffon-y blue green color. It's got a little tint to it. I can't put my finger on. All right. And so I want to hear about your fall traditions and things like that. Like, where do you put your signs? I want to show you some signs, actually. Where do you decorate your porch? Do you, you know, like, where do you put the things when you do them? So we've got, you know, our orange stencil, which is the same thing that we're painting today. Exact same stencil. We also have it in personalized. So you can actually get this as a personalized stencil. And then this is an example of a larger personalized one, same stencil as this. Our stencils come in sizes. So when you go to StudioR12.com, you will generally find 3 to 7 sizes. 5 is a really normal number. This one is PRST. It's PR because it's personalized. ST, and it's 0017. And how great would this be as a housewarming gift or a present for somebody who has a birthday in October and you give them something personalized? Like, that is a brilliant thing. And then we sell letter stencils, so that if you have this personalized one with this place to put a name, you could use the letter stencils to make it another name. So that's kind of a neat little hack. Okay, and then this one is amazing, and I really wish I had it big. This one is STCL 2824, and this is the 6x9, okay? But this goes all the way up to 36x24. So 36 by 24, that's gonna make a massive statement in, like, on your porch if you've got a big front porch, or in your dining room. Like I've got one spot over like the credenza that I have in the dining room, and I put like the love is, I think there's a video on YouTube on that one. It's got a really cool distressed background. That lives there every day of the year, except for when I go seasonal. And so I'll take really big ones like this, and I will put that in that spot, and then they fit super skinny, just, you know, right in your closet. So you can have really big signs just kind of tucked in to weird places under the bed and stuff like that. So this is really cool because it comes huge. And that, was I upside down the whole time? That is super fun because you can, it's not super fun because, but you can go, when you're going to paint the really huge signs, you can go to like the hardware store and get a really big board and just get it cut to size there. You can tell I'm hungry, I'm losing it, man. Okay, so we're gonna go here, and then I love this for a front porch. I think that is just amazing. When you wanna make, like fall's when we're in Ohio, fall is when we can sit on the porch. It's not, you know, 100 degrees or whatever, so that's like my favorite time of the year. This would also be great out on my back patio with my fire pit and stuff like that for fall. I love it. Okay, so that's some show. Oh, let me tell you the number. That is STCL2029. Okay, so that's show and tell. Tell me which one you like the best. Get all this stacked back up over here. And we'll change into our next step. We actually, believe it or not, we're kind of getting there. So we're kind of coming in the home stretch. Gonna pick up the lighter color, and I'm picking up quite a bit of it. And then we're gonna just, with our shape following, we're gonna give it some highlights. See how the highlight cuts through both of those colors. Okay, this is one of those examples of, what if I hate it? What if I'm too heavy-handed? What if, right? That's what we do when we're starting a new technique. This doesn't take practice, but I think it takes confidence. So I don't think you have to be really talented to do this. I think you just need to have confidence. So when you're doing it, get your cardboard out, practice the steps, and then you'll be able to feel confident when you're putting it on your piece. Once you get a feel for the length of the brush, if you need to anchor your hand, it will, when you put your hand or paint bottle, I can do that, it gives you a longer dipping place. So when I'm trying to swoosh, it gives me a longer takeoff place. So if you need to do that, some people in the old school painters would use their pinky. I struggle with that a lot, but you'll find me using my hand a lot. So that I get just a longer takeoff of my piece, because you've really got to swoop down and then lift up. And if you don't have very much runway, you're not going to be able to do that. Years ago, they had a wonderful tool that was an acrylic bridge that was amazing, and they don't carry it. That company went away. We have lost so many companies in the last 10, 15 years. It's amazing. I feel blessed to be able to help you guys with your crafting stuff. Love it. We live and love stencils and crafting all day long. We have the strangest conversations. You know, you think you're grown-ups and you're working and you're doing the thing, and then you're like, I wonder, you know, what the viscosity of the paint would be to go through this stencil line, you know, or whatever. And you're just like saying all kinds of like highly technical things and talking about stencils. It's bizarre. So, all right. Okay, so see how I'm just keeping that line bending, keeping my highlights up. Now we're gonna go again. This is a layers game right here. I really like the way that this looks, rather than just filling it in with a solid thing. I feel like it looks more painterly. And I feel like that's like kind of super cool. Okay, I'm gonna go backwards into the medium. I'm just kind of dancing back and forth. Now I'm going to establish some, I'm gonna mix. That was too light. So now I'm going to establish just a middle area, still too light. Wipe out my brush. None of the light color, just into this medium. Okay. We're going to establish those colors down lower, and then I'll come over some of that light that I've done. It's literally a layers game. These little wooble things, these little section markers, they will move on you if you are mean to them. If you are going to be mean to your stencil and you're really going to be kind of, you know, muscular, then you want to use some of that adhesive tape. Comes in a little roll. You can flip that stencil right over. I can't because mine's all wet, but you can just run that right on that and it'll stick it down. So that is a really good cheat technique if you are going to be mean with your stencil. But you notice I'm just literally feather tickling this. Okay, now I'm going to go backwards with the dirty brush into my highlight color, turn it back over, and then I'm going to marry those two colors together. Just literally layering. Okay. And then you start kind of getting into a rhythm. I'm literally just doing this with my hand and then lifting. So it's like a combo of the flick and lift. Okay, I hope that you are finding this technique really fun. I think it's amazingly fun. And I think it's something that will absolutely put like a tool in your arsenal. Like we all have painting toolboxes, you know, and that's our goal here every week. If it's super boring, I try not to present it because I think that like I want to give you tools to use for your toolbox. Okay, now I'm going to do my highlights. So that's going to be these really high spots. You don't want to put a highlight on this side and this side, because the light's going to come one direction or the other. If you're in the middle, you could highlight right here and then fade it off. I've got my light coming from over here. So we'll pretend like know what we're talking about. Just pretend like, you know, shine a light on something and see where it lights and then do that. So now I'm going to do white in my brush that I talked dry. And now this is going to show up quite a bit more. And now I'm turning my brush just a little bit sideways. So I'm getting a stronger highlight. Okay. Stronger. And sometimes I'm afraid of it, so I like sneak up on it and I won't like make anything happen. And I'm like, oh, come on, just do it. And then I'll like put it down really hard. So I do that. So I'm sure you will too. Okay, we get that highlight on that one side. Okay, and then you just layer and layer until you love it. And just a little bit of a highlight there and there. Ooh, hi. What do? Did you see what I did? Oh no. So what's the rule, right? If you know the rule, put it in the chat. I won't say it for a minute. Give everybody a chance to say. If you make a mistake when you're stenciling, what is our little secret to making that go away? Okay. Hope you've had a chance to type it in there before I ruin it. What you do is you go backwards one step, okay? Sometimes you might have to go backwards 2 steps. So if I need to fix that because it's just too strong, I go backwards 1 step or 1 color. So I'm going to go back into a darker color, which is actually a couple steps away, and I'll just feather that right on out. And then that fades away. And if I need to, I can go 1 over, pick up just a little bit darker. And now it's like putting makeup on. So, and then I can go back into my light color and I can do a decent amount of white instead of a big blob. There we go. So yeah, if you make a mistake, you just go back 1 step. That's the easiest way to fix. Okay, so now we have the little bit of shading to do. Carrie was like, I think that needs to be a little darker there. And so I was like, how am I gonna do that? Because I had my stencil already off. So let me show you, I'm gonna take my stencil away. Okay, and also, so see how my colors are kind of the same in there and they're not showing up very well. I had that happen earlier too. You can take either you can do it with the rake. The rake's a little juicy. A really terrific liner brush or round brush. This is a magic brush. You should have one, but you should treat it nicely. Or this crescent brush that is like a dome brush, but it's not fat like the dome. Either one of these would work good. So we can pick up our black with a little bit of blue, and then we can go right there and just go along our line, more black, with the skinny of the brush. Right in our channel right there. And then you can fade that with your finger. Okay. And if I need to highlight a little more down there, I could. If I'm using my round, I'm loading it with paint, and I'm going to find where these little guys were. And you can just make a line. And you just follow. The way that a round or a liner works is you have to be on the toe of it. If you use a round or a liner, I'm going to show you how to do this right down here on this thing. It's very important. And it's something that nobody teaches this. I don't know why. Okay, so I've got my brush. I'm going to balance on my toe, and I am able to make a nice roundy round liner brush stroke. Okay, I can, make those sections however I want. Okay, if I do it like some people do it, they pretend like it's a pencil or a pen, and then they do this. And that is why you're getting the whole side of the brush. So when you're trying to do that, you want to be up on your toe, and that is how you will get a really nice line. Okay? And pressure is also good. If I'm on my toe and then I push down and lift up, I can make some fun like faux knots in wood grain and stuff like that. So you can have a lot of fun with that. Okay, so that's how you can get your sections back in if you matched your colors. Okay, so now, oops, stencil back on, and got the wrong stencil on. Okay, we'll get you matched up. This is a really good reason to wash your stencil. I don't usually wash my stencils, but we have the etch lines on here that will show you where to put your pumpkin shape and stuff. But if you've made a mess on your stencil, then you won't be able to see where those etch lines are. So I'm going to show you the letters, and I'll show you the highlight on the leaf, and then I think we're almost there. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and commenting. Time for a new paper towel. All right, so we're going to do our letters in black. Need some more black. We'll highlight our leaf. And I hope that you guys had so much fun today. I'm glad that you joined us. We literally are here for you. So make sure that you like and share and comment. And if you want a stencil family, you're welcome to be in our stencil family. Okay, so we're just going to swirl. This is the best way to do lettering. If you do old school lettering with a round brush, you generally speaking have to trace it onto some tracing paper. So that's once that you touch it and you go around every line and you trace it. Then you have to base it. So you have to take that same round brush and you have to do 2 or 3 base coats on every single letter. And then you have to, if you want to do drop shadow, then that's another step as well. It is a really lengthy process. And to do this much lettering would probably take me, and I'm good and fast. It would probably take me 2 hours, I would guess, to do this, doing it the old-fashioned way. So, sometimes I get a little bit of smack for like doing everything with a stencil, but it makes it so much faster. I like to paint to get the project done. I'm not necessarily the paint to relax and take my time doing a thing. So notice that I was able to go right back up here. This isn't wet at all. By the time I got done, I can go right back to the top. We do use a lot of brushes when we're changing colors, so you want to make sure to own a couple of sets of these domes. Okay, there we go. And get that all done. Onward to our green. All right, we're gonna do the leaves, and I think we're gonna be about there. Oh, I have a mustardy color. Love this color. that is just like an accent color. Okay, so we're gonna go into the green with the lightest green that I have, which is a very springy, I don't know, a springy green, I guess we're gonna call it that. And I'm gonna do the top half of my leaf in that springy green and just kind of let it fade off. I'm gonna go into my very dark and I'm gonna go up the bottom and then just kind of fade it. Do the same thing on my little sample here. Let it fade. Now I'm gonna wipe out my brush and pick up, I didn't put any of this light green on here. Set this guy down. It's easier to set him down and paint him than put him in your hand. We have so many cool cutouts too, guys. Check those out. We've got word cutouts and all the things. We're gonna neutralize the paint in my brush, pick up some of that gold, which is gonna make it into a goldy green because I'm dirty brushing. If that's dry enough, then I can just accent just a little bit right there. And then I can do just a little bit on my leaf. Okay, let's take a look and see if we think that we're about there. Neat, okay. I think my stem needs a little something, something. So I'll just take my rake brush. And what you're gonna do when you do your stem, I'm gonna mix a little bit of white with that kind of neutrally khaki brown. And you can take and you can just put a little bloop at the top. And then you can make a little swirl. And then all your other swirls will kind of drape away the same angle. And that's how you make like a curved stem. Yeah, that just gives it a little bit of jazz. Okay, and then what I love, the bestest about things, I'll have to show you distressing, is we used the leaf. Let me show you on here. We used this gold wire, and we just used some, wire cutter things. And we put that through, and then we tied some little raffia on there, and then to make the leaf stand up, we went to the scrapbook store and we found these. It's on a roll and they're these little foamy things, and we just set one of those on there and then you peel off the backing. I did 2 high. Okay. And you just stack them 2 high. You can stack them as high as you want. And then I just blonked that little leaf right where I wanted it. And then that gives it that dimensional thing. And then what I liked about these was they do come off if you make them come off. I did this on another project, and I waited a week or 2, and then I saw if I could make it peel off. And I could peel it off with like some effort, but it was not falling off, if that makes sense. Okay, sanding and distressing. You cannot, or you could, but I don't recommend it. You want to sand, if you're doing your pumpkin, you want to sand in the direction of these things. So we're on this one because if we use this one, then we're going to be going straight and it would be very difficult. You're going to mess up your background and do all kinds of funny things. So we are going to, sand, and see that's peeling off where my wax was. Okay. All right, what are you eating for lunch today? Because I am having Indian. Love me some Indian food. All right, so see how that is just relieving that stress right there? It's just making it all kinds of other things. Ooh, yeah, and it's peeling, shaping with. Ah, that's so good. Peeling off. If we wanted to cover up some of this light down here with our blue, we could go back over it. Remember, you go backwards 1 step if you don't like something. All right, I love the chips coming through. Do our leaf. Do our stem. Okay, I could run through my lettering. Better go in my direction of my boards. Sometimes I forget things, but it's good when I do that because then I can tell you that. Ooh, and did you see my G just kind of peeled off? You know how those old signs look like that? The one that you find in like the corner drugstore that's been closed for like 50 years, and you find these signs that are chipped and all the things. I love that. I can put back as much as I want, and I can take away as much as I want. I love that. I love that. So, distress, distress, distress. I love it. Maybe a little bit more here. Okay, this is where I add some stuff with accent colors. So if I wanted to carry some color around, I'm gonna get some of this yellow because it's only in one spot. I'm gonna pick that up with a lot of water in my brush. I'm going to tap over here on my bucket so I don't make a mess. If you have a Coach purse and you have it on your table near your spattering, you need to move it, okay? If you're painting next to somebody who is your friend, you need to tell them you're spattering because it's gonna go everywhere. It always does. I end up with it on my face and my glasses and all the things. So I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna spatter with some heavy yellow. You make it heavy by putting a lot of water in it. And I want big fat drops of stuff. Then I'm gonna go into black. There was an artist that used to come and teach. She was a famous published artist. And she came and she said she paints to spatter. Like everything that she did had black and white spatters on it. Super heavy, and it was amazing. Okay, so that's not enough. I want it thicker and heavier. And then you could even sneak just a little bit. Oh, I promised to show you how to finger paint. I'll show you that right next. A little bit of that blue. I'm gonna go into this weird. And you could bring that into things. Your spatters are gonna be wet for a while, so make sure that you don't run your hand through it, okay? So finger painting. Here's what you do. You take your brush and you go with your, maybe your darker paint, so this almost dark, and you can just like line it up there, kind of wet, okay? And that, I guess I'll do that whole thing. I'm making, not doing a very nice job right here. And then you just can draw it down with your finger. So you smudge it and smear it. And then finger paint. And that gives you a really nice little, it gets the paint sucked all the way up to the edge. And so that cleans that edge, and then you smear it down, and that makes it look like the fade. That's the shade. So I hope that you guys have had your hippie noodle blown. I hope that you let us know all about what you're painting, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a good day.